Welcome to the Spirit of a Badass, where we celebrate stories of courage, hope, and resiliency. I am your host, Alecia Jacobson. Hello, welcome. We are here. I am here. You are here. I am making some bread right now. I haven't done that in quite a long time. I kind of, if you follow me on social media, I have been posting it, which also haven't done. I guess I haven't been making it. Oh my goodness. I am looking at my little background here, and my office is, well, I just moved a notebook. If you are not watching on YouTube, that was back there. I had it on my chair, but my daughter came. She came and hung out with me this morning before I started working, just like eating her breakfast in the chair next to me. And I'm like, how lucky am I that my teenager wants to just come and sit with me? I kind of teased her later because she's like, what are you doing? I'm like, okay. Because, she's doing her school here. Like, you kind of give me a little breathing room here. But truly, like, and she knows that I'm teasing her, but truly, like, I feel like the luckiest. I feel so lucky sometimes. Yeah. So I'm making bread. I haven't made it in a while. I kind of forgot some things and it's delayed, but that's fine. But I'm looking forward to it. I was making it in recent times. It's been because my kids have been like, why aren't you making bread anymore? So I have made it just like the act of making it. But this time I was like, oh, I'm actually looking forward to probably the difference between like going for a run that you just have to do because you're training for something and going for a run because your body is craving a run. And if you're not a runner, you might be like, girl, you're nuts. But you get the idea. But that's how it felt today. I was like, oh, I'm actually really looking forward to the experience of making the bread. So that's where I'm at today. And little stuff that's been happening in my world, kind of fun, kind of, like everybody. But just as of most recent today, well, on the last podcast, last week's episode, I talked about kind of repotting myself and what I don't know where I'm going. But the kind of theme is I'm really just trying to own myself and step into like, who am I truly and what do I actually want versus what are the things maybe I wanted, chose, whatever, because that's what I either thought I had to do or that's what everybody else does. I'm really trying to stop that and really like pause and own my shit. So anyway, today I went to an art class and I was supposed to go a couple weeks ago and then was unable to go. But I went to it and I was telling one of my clients I was working with today, we do one-on-one personal training. And I was telling her, and I'm like, it's not like networking, but business owners and, entrepreneurs go to these events and it's not me. I've always hated it. It's so stuffy. And I have then like recently in the last couple of years secluded myself in my home. I do my workouts, but other than that, I'm not really out in community. And I know that is where I need to be, even if it temporarily makes me feel uncomfortable. So I've been looking for things that I can go out and do that get me around other people where I can learn, be inspired, connect, like have all of those things, but also kind of like fill my cup in a way that it has not been filled before and just really hit. I don't know. It's like Miracle Grow, I guess, maybe if I stick with the planted pot analogy. I'm trying to find things that it's like, this is what I need. Anyway, so I went to this art class today, which I am not an artist. I know they probably say like anybody can be an artist, which I did art, but it was really one to get in community. It's this new space. It's called Art House 360 in Verona. And I chose the modality of art because I know it gets your brain thinking differently. Creativity is so important for stress relief and anxiety. And just, I think, thinking of being an entrepreneur, doing things creatively, get you thinking creatively. Like I have all these ideas now. And the connection with the women that were there was just the neatest experience. I called my husband on the way home and I'm like, my cup is so filled. And part of what I want to be doing right now in my life is filling my cup so high because let's be real, it has been pretty empty for a really long time. But I want it filled so high that it's splashing over onto those people around me in a delightful way and with love and care. But I'm so filled that it doesn't feel exhausting, right? Because usually we're taking care of people and it feels just exhausting. And that is where I have been for, the last 19 years. And sometimes, it's not always like that. But anyway, long story short, I am really tapping into what is going to fill me up so that I can not only be there for other people, but truly be there for myself in the way that I feel like most people, if they're like, yeah, I did an art class on a Tuesday, like what? But it will spill over in so many things. And I know not everybody has the opportunity, but you get the idea. They have there's the pottery class that I want to go to that is at, they have them at night if that works in your schedule, but I can't do things at night. So yeah, that's what I did. And then also at the same place, my husband and I did a improv class, and I'm not funny. I am not out there. And again, same idea. When I was telling my daughter had volleyball this weekend, and I was telling a very good friend of mine that I happened to see there that Joe and I were doing this. And she was like, wait, you're doing this? I can see Joe doing it. Like everybody can see that. He's naturally funny and outgoing and all of the things that one would think of when they think of an improv class. And I am whatever the opposite that you would think of. And y'all, if you know me and you've heard me on here, you know that. I mean, I don't mind standing up and giving a public speaking event to 1,000 people or being in charge of a room, but being in the room, not in charge. Eek. Like, yikes. But it's something that I have had this pull towards. I have looked up these classes for years now, like before COVID, and they have not worked in my schedule. They have not been something that I am like, I kind of like want to, but I know I'd probably sign up and then cancel. And had I not signed up with my husband, I likely would have just been like, no, I'm not going to do this because it was like too uncomfortable. But because he's my like safe grounding space, we did it together. And I'm pretty sure he found his life calling. And I was trying to think of ways to get out of there within the first 10 minutes. And then as I'm there, I'm like, wait a second, I am uncomfortable. And I know that this is the good kind of uncomfortable. I know that this is going to be memorable and an experience that will shift me in ways. There's a reason I've been drawn to something that I have no business being drawn to for years now. So anyway, it was a really great experience. If you are local to the Madison area, I highly recommend you just pop on the website of Art House 360. There's dance. That's, if you remember, I know I talked about this on here, wanting to try hip hop dance. Barrio, which is another local place, that's where I tried it. They're a part of it. I didn't last there. Just trying all the things. I'm like, I really like trying things. It does fill my cup, and I like sharing about the things I try because somebody messaged me. She's like, thanks for inspiring us. And part of why I do it, yes. And also it's like, we're not taught to follow the things that really fill our cup. And by doing it, it changes us for such a good reason and space. And like, it grows us into who we need to be, like in the best way, not like in the should way. So anyway, all right. Today's podcast is about saying no without overthinking it. Saying no without over explaining is, even just the first part of it, saying no in general, even if you did over explain, so uncomfortable. And the plethora of people that I work with, male and female, because I know I say I do have some men that I work with that across the board struggle with this idea of what they see as letting people down by saying no. And my thought on saying no is, well, one, I had my mom was really good at this. I felt like I think I've never even had a conversation with this before, but I saw her turn down things and not do things, even though it might have been expected. Like she just didn't care. And so I had that modeled to me of, I'm going to protect my time, my peace, whatever. Again, we've never talked about it, so I don't know what her reasoning, but she did it. And I don't know that many people had that modeled. I'm guessing a lot of it was the opposite. So it's not too uncomfortable for me to say no in order to like I don't like to do a whole lot, and I'm okay turning down an invitation, and I will just flat out say like I don't have the social battery for that. I have too many things in a day. Like I got like one opportunity in a day and then I'm done. Like that does not bother me. I don't feel like I need to say that. Now, if I was asked to volunteer for something, I might, especially in person, I might struggle. But this is where the let me check my calendar, get back to you, or let me think about that. You got to create that distance. I know we've talked about that here. But the idea of saying no, just letting it linger, and maybe one sentence without the complete over explaining. And this is coming up for me now. And it's interesting. It's like, when you look for a car and all of a sudden you see that car everywhere, I feel like I have a personal experience that I had with this that made me so uncomfortable. And this is just one area that I'm not uncomfortable. So the fact that it did and everything it sort of stirred up in me, I was like, well, damn, girl. And then I noticed other people were talking about it frequently right after I was experiencing it. I'm like, all right, I gotta talk about this with the over explaining part. So I'm not going to go into details because it involves other people and I'm not here to tell other people's stories. I'll just tell my portion of it. But something was kind of wanted of me. And this was something personal and something with people who I care deeply about. And also, I did not have the capacity to deliver on what was wanted. For many reasons, I was choosing to say no. And some of it is because I have seen what has happened to people. I'm going to be very vague here. This is like those annoying Facebook posts that are like, please pray for this, like X, Y, and Z, but gives you no, or like puts the vague thing out there and gives you no information. You're like, what the hell? Come on, give me something. This is that. So I am sorry. But it's like there was an expectation sort of wanted of me. And what I would have to give would have cost me too much. And there was too many things that I was already holding in my life for other people in my life that I did not have it to give. And because this was for people that I truly, truly cared about, it stirred up something that I haven't experienced before. And I found myself wanting to be like, well, here's this list of all of these reasons why I can't do this. And I was like, wait, one, I like to, even though they're people that I really care about, I don't like to, I know it seems like I come and put all my business on here, but I actually am pretty private and I don't want to share everything. I don't have to. That's not part of it. But I felt like I needed to sort of justify my reasoning because I was very concerned about what their perception of my no would be. And right around this time, I also had this sort of like epiphany moment of this, a different experience. And I was not wanting to do something because I didn't want it to be perceived in a way that was not how I felt. And then I was like, wait a second. Shocking, shocking. I'm going to tell you a big shocker here. I am not in control of other people and how they think. We are not. So no matter what I do, people are going to make their own story about it. I am not in control with that. We have no control how other people perceive what we do or don't do and what story they make it mean to them. We can't do that. So even if I took the time to make myself more comfortable and kind of diffuse the internal like temperature, friction, all of the things that were bubbling up in me by over explaining, it's still like I don't control how other people see me. Like they could think all sorts of things. And I think that is such a valuable, like I was like, ooh, light bulb moment when I had that, because like I said, these are not like I don't experience this. So it was it was like, the fuck is happening? Why am I feeling uncomfortable with a no? And I really think, with some reflection, it's because I care. Not that I don't care about other things, but I don't care declining a coffee or an invitation to go do something, or a pool party because we're coming up on pool season. or they want me to be on some volunteer. Like I don't feel the need to over explain that. And I feel like I create enough distance between me and the asker that it doesn't matter. But when you get into this territory of direct care, love, or connection, whatever it is, there's like more, I think of like a tether, like all of these like cords to the person that make you feel, and sometimes it might be a yes. Like I kind of looked at it as like a bar graph and I'm like, okay, for what I have to give, like what am I because you're giving in two things. Like you would be giving your time, energy, money, whatever it is, but like you're also giving the yes means you're saying no to other things. And I essentially wasn't willing to say no to the things that I had to say no to because those had more weight than the other thing. So that happened. That vague little story there happened with me, but hopefully you get the sort of gem that I got out of it. But then I am like, have all these other experiences with friends and clients and past clients and people that I'm in close proximity with that have been talking about this and specifically in the over explaining. And I was like, I mean, we talk about the people pleasing, we talk about, saying no or needing to say no, but I've not had so many people talk about saying no without qualifying it. And anyway, so that is why I wanted to bring it to you because I'm like, okay, if enough people are talking about it, I need to give it more life. I was talking about this morning with one of my clients and she was sharing, and this wasn't her, she was telling the story of someone else, and she said, I've done that before too. But one of the things I didn't think about is if you are saying no and then like qualifying it, sometimes you might be qualifying it with a lie. Now, I don't lie. I lied a lot in my teens and kind of the early before the brain development. I was just a shyster. So I got all mine out, and now I'm afraid if I was to tell an untruth and like say, oh, I can't come, my kid is sick, that the kid would get sick. Like that is that keeps me in line enough. The fear of whatever I'm saying might actually come true. But that does not feel good in your body to have to make up a story to get out of something or to say the no. And sometimes, I mean, I have said this, and so I guess maybe we can take this both ways because I have heard people with teenagers say the teenager can use me. And I think that's a great one. So, teenagers, I think, yes, let them use you as like, oh no, my mom says I can't do it and I have to go home if they're feeling like they don't quite have the no yet. But again, no, I think this is a valuable tool to teach our kids that saying no is an option, and let's practice in really safe spaces, which they probably do to us, right? The saying no. But if you're telling an untruth to get out of something, I think there's an opportunity for growth there. And if you don't have to, right? Like, I just think that that wouldn't sit well in your body. And then I would think that would come attached with so many other things of having to like then remember what you said in the lie. And anyway, she said that, and I was like, oh, I hadn't even considered that. So that's the number one thing you can avoid if you don't over explain. And then kind of going into when you are giving the no and not over explaining it, like if you give a yes and you don't really want to, essentially it's like you're kind of making it easier for someone else. And not to say that sometimes we don't have to do that, but it can become a pattern that just makes your life more stressful because instead of thinking about what your needs are, you're ignoring your own needs and making the path easier for other people. And specifically, when I'm thinking of this, I'm thinking of people who do this in business and in their work. And instead of saying no to something, they say yes. And then they're resentful, they're stressed, they bitch about it to other people. They don't. And it's like, okay, if you just take. This is not an easy thing. If this is something that is a pattern, this is some work. However, it's work that fucking pays off because you will be less stressed and have more time because you're not giving your time to things that you don't want to be doing. It could be as simple as, you know, um, changing a system that you have and just letting people know, like, hey, we've made a change with this, and this will benefit you by X, Y, and Z. Not, you don't have to give a huge thing of, oh, I'm so sorry. I know this is going to be tricky. You're going to have to learn a new system, or you don't have to do any of that. Like, they might have to, but you don't want to present like, no, we don't need to over apologize or over explain or anything. It is just like, this is what's happening. But what I see is that on the back end, a lot of people are doing a lot more work because they don't want to establish that sort of boundary. They have said yes so many times that it just creates more work and more stress for them versus establishing an expectation, a no, or a I'm going to give you back your responsibility, whatever that is, and then staying in that uncomfortable space. When I had to do this, no, essentially, I was so uncomfortable for a solid week. And I kept replaying all of my reasonings why it was a no. And I had to keep myself from over explaining, which was so irritating to me because I don't like wasting energy in my thought. And we've talked about the getting out of a thought spiral and overthinking things and all of these things. And it took me, I think, because it was so unexpected that I had this sort of struggle with it that my brain and body was like short circuiting, and I just could not get it. I couldn't get over it. It took me a longer time. And if you have said the no and then you didn't over explain, or even if you did, you can then stay in that space. And the amount of time and energy I wasted thinking about this, and then I'd realize it and I'd try to stop, but then like it kept hijacking me. It was very frustrating. And if this is a pattern, you will feel so much better after breaking this pattern, because every yes has a cost. And if that cost is one that you are like, if that's a full bodied yes, then hell yeah, like go for it. But if you are giving too many begrudging yeses that are costing you, I mean, essentially it's like life and vitality and longevity. I mean, I think of, my people pleaser people. I love you. And you have so much stress that you are hanging onto of other people's that is not yours to hold. It is not yours to hold. And you're holding it because it keeps other people comfortable, and it keeps you comfortable by trying, at least that's the perception, is that, oh, like I'm more comfortable by these other people being comfortable. I don't have to hold discomfort if I say a no, or if I don't do what they're, it's kind of to last week's episode, when you outgrow spaces or identities, people still expect you to be that way. So if you are a person that has been a yes person and now you're like dipping your toes in the water of saying no, not only are you uncomfortable, and just know this because this is part of it, people around you are also going to be uncomfortable because that's going to be unexpected. One of the ladies I was talking to is a longtime friend and past client of mine, and she excitedly told me, in the last couple of weeks, I have been saying no. And I'm like, oh, I got a podcast coming up. Tell me more. And one of the things that she said was that, kind of what we've already talked about, but she also was overthinking it and then thinking of, this was a in-person thing where she just wanted to like almost like blurt out the like over explaining. And she's like, nope, I don't have to do that. But this was in a professional capacity where she had a nice client that she was working with, and she was, well compensated for working with this client. And she felt like she needed to explain her reasoning on something. And she didn't. And it felt so uncomfortable in her. But as she's telling me this, the excitement and the pride that she had in herself, for one, realizing that, 40 some years of saying yes to things, and the kind of mental and physical, because saying yes to something that physically lives in your body was such a weight lifted. I mean, seeing her do this, I was like, I need more info. And she's a person that I could say, like, I want to talk about this. Tell me more. And she was just lit up by saying no. I helped somebody with this yesterday. They were crafting a a letter to someone that they needed to it was changing of a relationship. She had hired somebody and she felt bad because she's like, I really respect this person. However, I need to change the way I engage with them. And that is, that is not a no, but it's a, hey, I'm no longer going to be working with you. And it was like, okay, how can we take all of the important pieces that you want to say and condense them down so that it is not the over explaining that's going to make you try to control the situation with what you're over explaining and release that pressure, like cause a little discomfort. That's okay. We don't have to feel comfy all the time, right? Unless it's in our favorite clothes. As I'm wearing the one shirt that I wear for like every episode because it's so comfy. But this, when you're uncomfortable, like, no, go into it knowing when I start saying no, the people that are used to me saying yes and benefit from me saying yes are going to be uncomfortable with it, especially if they are benefiting from it and or taking advantage of it. Because if you are a yes person, I guarantee you have people taking advantage of your yesness. I know that there is physical pain. I know that there is emotional, mental, like I know that you're holding that. I've talked with so many, like I know that is a piece of it and they are benefiting from you and your yesness. So you're going to cause that discomfort and just know that it's going to be there. And I also wouldn't recommend stepping in. Unless this is you, but I'm guessing if you're a yes person that this is not you. But I wouldn't recommend necessarily starting with the biggest no that is like the big cloud or looming something. Start small. One of the ladies I worked with many years ago, she needed to use this within her career, a very high up, status within her corporate workplace. We did not start there. We started in her friend group where she felt safe. And she started tapping into her voice where she normally wouldn't want to even do something like pick the restaurant because she was afraid if she did that they maybe wouldn't like it, or what if they didn't enjoy the food? Like she wasn't even choosing a yes for herself or, suggest, turning down something. She just would do it. So we started within a friend group that she felt safe with. And then she practiced and then she went into her work and fucking nailed it. And she was so proud of herself and it freed up. And if this is you and you're like, if this isn't you, you might not have the context for it. But if you are in your workplace and you are agreeing to things and saying yes to things, that it is taxing on you in so many ways and it has a big impact on you. This might be something to just practice, not in your workplace, but in a safe friend group or, wherever feels safe for you. But just practice flexing that no, and then practice the discomfort of feeling uncomfortable by not over explaining yourself, knowing that it is going to feel, you might have some ruminating afterwards. And if you're just not used to saying no, then you're going to have ruminating 100% afterwards. Like this is, but that is normal. That is normal when you are breaking a habit. But this habit is stealing. It is stealing your life. It is stealing your energy. It is stealing from the delightful things that you could be doing with your time and energy. Okay. All right. Go say no. Go protect your peace. Go do fucking awesome things in the world, because if you're turning down things that are not meant for you or right for you or not right for you right now, right? It might be something that you've done before, but right now it no longer is aligned with you. You are going to have so much more mental space and bandwidth, or insert whatever fucking word you want. You will have more of it to do the wonderful things that make your cup full and splash over onto everybody else. All right. Have a good day. Spirit of a Badass is a Lit Path Studios podcast and is produced by Jamie Gale and Alecia Jacobson. Music by Shane Ivers. We'll be back with another inspiring interview. Until then, keep your spirits high and your energy badass.